What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Beauty and Authenticity. I'm Shalise, and let's get into the video. All right, y'all, so we are going to be doing a video on why you keep attracting losers. Say it ain't so. So, you notice a pattern of you being played by these very men, and now you're pissed. So what do? Why do these weirdos keep popping up in your life? Why do they keep hurting you? And you know what was worse is they keep doing it on purpose. But why you? Why do they choose you? All right, let's stop right now, okay? This is not one of the male bashing videos. So let's get that out your mind. Nope, this is a self-reflection video. I'm gonna give you 10 reasons why you keep attracting losers. And with these 10 reasons, you'll be able to do way more than improve your dating life. You'll be able to actually get to know yourself. Reason number 1 that you keep attracting losers. You lack boundaries, sis. You lack boundaries. So tell me if this sounds familiar. Whenever a guy calls you, right, and he wants to hang out, do you drop everything and hang out with that man? Or, you know, a guy takes you out, then he tries to kiss you, and you let him. You don't even know this man. He had a herpy lip 2 days ago. Not even sure you want to kiss him. You just do it. It's like you can't say no. Sound familiar? Girl, next thing you know, he done invited you to his house. He trying to make a move on you, and boop, y'all then did the do. What happened, sis? What happened? Now look, all of that happening is like a sign of a few things, but it's for sure a sign that you lack boundaries. So what are boundaries? All right, well, according to Google, boundaries are the limits and rules that we set for ourselves within relationships. Now, look, it's okay if you never heard of boundaries. Like, I hadn't learned and heard about boundaries until a couple years ago. So I'm gonna put y'all on. I didn't know I had the option to choose who can be in my life and what behavior was acceptable to me. Now, look, I used to sleep with men on the first night because I just couldn't say no, even when I didn't want to do it. I didn't know how to say no. I would even allow men to say like mean things to me and then have the nerve to allow them continued access to me and then get mad when they continue to misuse me and abuse me. So that's actually another sign that you lack boundaries. So reason number 2, you are an abuse victim. More often than not, people who date losers are abuse victims. Like, I know that might sound crazy or like, what? You don't know what you're talking about. But if you were not still traumatized by abuse, then why are you dating losers? The only way you can possibly not only be attracted to people that hurt you, but like addicted to them like a fiend looking for their next fix is because it's familiar territory. Basically what I'm saying is like trauma is attracted to trauma. Who in your childhood afflicted you in such a way that you only feel safe in the arms of a dangerous man. Any man that seeks after a wounded woman is dangerous. He does not have good intentions. Healthy men are not about to seek after a woman who is not healthy herself. He can spot you after a couple conversations, maybe right away, depends on, you know what I'm saying? Depends on how traumatized you are. Some of us wearing it on our face. And they don't want that. No offense, but, you know, I see why I couldn't get a healthier man. I see why I couldn't get one. You're like, girl, you look like you in the depths of despair. I'm good. He said, be happy. So look, the real question is, why do you run into the arms of peril? Well, actually, like, if you grew up in a home where you were, like, emotionally or physically neglected, you could then, like, be drawn to people who would treat you the same way. All right, so let's define emotional and physical neglect. So emotional neglect is defined as a failure to attend to emotional needs. So whenever you were a child, whoever raised you, be it like your mom, your dad, your grandparents, or just like a caregiver, there were emotional needs that you had that your caregiver ignored. So you noticed this. You noticed that the person responsible for providing your emotional needs, you noticed that they were either incapable or just didn't care to fulfill those emotional needs for you. So you like started to label them as unimportant, that your feelings and how you feel about yourself or about your life or about your experiences were not important, because the very people who were supposed to protect you and take care of you didn't put any emphasis on your well-being emotionally. You'll grow up connecting with people who don't view your emotions as important, and then they can't support you emotionally either. You do this because it's familiar. It's like normal to you. Even if you think it's something wrong with it, you don't yet have the tools to choose anything better. So like when you see a bad boy and like he's attractive to you and you think, oh, it's a spark, he just do something to me, like he give me butterflies, right? Really, he was just triggering my trauma. So that feeling is like a danger feeling. It's not a good feeling, but you're so used to it, right? You think it's something good. It's not. Because, right, really think about it. You actually shouldn't feel that type of rush for somebody you don't know. You get that rush, that spark, that butterfly feeling. So it kind of like shift things into high gear, and all of a sudden, y'all together, y'all boyfriend and girlfriend. Half the time, y'all only boyfriend and girlfriend when he in front of you. But you didn't hear it from me. Actually, you did hear it from me. Tell your friends about this video. So anyways, you feel the spark, right? Then y'all get together real fast and you think you in love. No, you're not in love. You're addicted to being neglected. Even if they don't show all of it, the traits just yet up front, you know, they're good at hiding it. A lot of these types of guys that I'm talking about, right? But subconsciously, you're drawn to him for a reason. Because everything that has traumatized you, he's like a walking representation of it, and you gotta have it. Especially because if you're not ready to heal yet, oh yeah, you want more of what hurt you. That way you ain't gotta change nothing. We did emotional neglect, right? So now, what is physical neglect? Okay, so this is actually when the person who raised you failed to provide your basic needs. You know, like food, shelter, water, clothes, medical care, supervision. Right, so look, let's put it in perspective, right? So many of y'all only had one parent, right? Probably your mom, like me. I only had my mom growing up. And like, so right off the bat, you have suffered from abandonment because your father isn't in the home. All right, and then to top it all off, right? So your dad not in the house, right? But then your mom, she not there that much either, because she's either always at work, because she's the only one providing for a household. Then imagine you have a sibling or 2 or 3 or 4. She's not going to have as much time to be around you and to be involved in your day-to-day life and who's influencing you and who's impacting your growth, right? Or you got some of the moms that they be at the club all the time. They be partying. They be with a man. They be doing everything but being with you, with their kid. It's like, hello, you brought me into the world. What are you doing? Parents are supposed to, all the life information, all the life wisdom they done gained, they supposed to be pouring it into their kids, right? Like, ain't that what we supposed to be doing? Well, anyway, I get it. A lot of these parents, they don't understand the assignment. So you got that going on. Then you got the mom always out of the house, whether she's at work or she's at the club or she's with a man. Then on top of that, some people have it so bad that their mom, they also don't make sure they got adequate food, shelter, clothes, just like, neglectful emotionally and physically. That's trauma. And honestly, like, all of these things are extremely traumatic for a child to endure. Like, it'll actually make you grow up and crave mistreatment. It'll make you drawn to people who can traumatize you some more. If your trauma goes unhealed, you will continue to crave abuse. For instance, I grew up with my dad being absent like most of my life. So like, he would just show up kind of randomly, periodically. Sometimes it'd be every couple years. Sometimes it'd be twice in 1 year. You know, one time he stayed around for, you know, a little while, you know, when I got a little older. But for the most part, he was in and out. And when he would show up, he would pop up, boop, with a gift. Like, here, how's it going? How's life? This nigga will show up like, he just seen me last weekend. Like, ain't nothing happened. No explanation for why he gone. None of that, right? So I was kind of used to that type of thing. So consequently, when I began to date, I would date men that would do the same thing. Like, they would be all up in my face and all about me 1 second, then they just poof, disappear into thin air, and then they come back around, either maybe not with a gift, but they might take me out, do something that I like to butter me up. And I wouldn't ask where they was. Nope. It was bad. Y'all, that stuff was normal to me. Like, I would actually want the guy more. Like, I would be daydreaming about him, wondering when he was gonna call me again. It's insane. And you know what's crazy? Is I only wanted to be around people who invalidated my existence. I didn't want to be around people who validated me. I didn't want to be around people who actually showed a true interest in me. I would chase after people who rejected me. So that was reason number 2 for why you attract losers. All right, so let's get on to the third reason why you keep attracting losers. You lack confidence. Self-confidence is a feeling of trust in one's own abilities, qualities, and judgment. I actually think that many women are confused about confidence. I've noticed, especially through like social media, that a lot of women think that self-confidence involves them having high sex appeal or like knowing how to attract a man and flirt, that qualifies as true self-confidence. And like, I mean, it takes confidence to be able to do those things, but it doesn't embody like true self-confidence. Some even think that they're confident because they have the ability to like mingle, hold a conversation, and like meet new people effortlessly, right? Those are definitely signs of confidence. It's just that, you know, confidence means so much more. Confidence truly means that you trust yourself. You trust that you can get the career of your dreams because you have a genuine trust in your ability to do what it takes to get there. You actually don't let insecurities set in and ruin your desires. Confidence is like also trusting that your personality is desirable to the people you're meant to be around. And so when you're not around people who don't desire you, you won't like adjust yourself to fit in or question yourself at all. You'll know what's for you and what isn't. So like growing up, I was always severely lacking in confidence. I didn't even know how to flirt with men or use my femininity to like woo a man. None of that. I certainly could not work a crowd or hold any conversations with strangers. Okay, I'm introverted. I'm still introverted. So like whenever I came across people who didn't like me, who didn't accept me, I would be drawn to them, trying to like win their favor, trying to win them over. I mean, every time I had a dream that I wanted to do something, I would start it and then quit it all in the same week. I just could not trust myself to be able to accomplish anything that I deeply desired to do. I couldn't even trust my own judgment either. Like, I would know that somebody wasn't good for me or they didn't have my best interest, and I would just second guess it. I would literally need like sign after sign to be able to trust what I already knew from the jump. Meet my kitty cat. Meet my kitty cat. Fat belly. This can be very dangerous in your life, whether dealing with a loser man, a loser boss, a loser family member, a loser friend. You won't even be able to defend yourself properly because like you'll be too consumed with whether or not your judgment is off. You don't even trust that you know what's best for you. So they have the upper hand already. Lacking confidence and lacking boundaries is obviously connected to having a history of abuse, even if it doesn't seem like it. Okay, like for instance, right? If I was so confident, then I would drop a loser at the first sign of disrespect. If you were so confident, you wouldn't even talk to Tyrone. Here's another example. If I was so confident, I would stick to my projects because I know I can handle them and complete them with dedication and a plan. And I would take rejection as a sign that I need to befriend somebody else. Yo, I wouldn't even take rejection personally. Rejection is not a reflection of your character or your value. It just simply means that someone just doesn't see the value that you add to their life and they don't want to. Everybody has the right to add or subtract anybody from their life that they want to. We have no control over who desires us in their lives and who doesn't. All right, so let's move on to reason number 4, why you keep attracting the losers. Reason number 4, you lack self-respect. What is self-respect? Self-respect actually involves acting with honor and dignity. Honestly, like, self-respect and dignity are intermingled in a lot of ways. So basically, like, self-respect just means you have integrity. So like, if you have integrity, then you only behave in ways that show that you respect yourself. All right, so what are some signs that show that you lack in self-respect? Let's get it. For one, dating losers is an example that you lack self-respect. Like, you know that the men you're dating are losers, and yet you keep dating them. So let me guess, you ain't know he was a loser when you started dating him. You only found out later on, way down the line, right? Does that sound familiar? But what if I told you that you always know early on that a guy is in fact a loser? Actually, if you had confidence in your own judgment, you would take heed to the loser behavior that these dudes be exhibiting early on. Girl, you would not waste time trying to figure out if you just tripping. None of that. You would drop him just as soon as you picked him up. Okay, so you said, oh, it's getting hot in here. Well, it's about to get even hotter. So another sign that you lack self-respect is the way that you allow men to pursue you. Okay, so like, for instance, do you just give every man that feigns interest in you your number? Like, do you just proudly date drug dealers, womanizers, and men with no futures? And then what about children? Do you date a man who actually lacks qualities of a good man and then turn around and have his kids? Do you allow men to impregnate you without marriage? No matter what society has normalized, it's definitely not okay to start a family without a covenant. Or do you like give your body away to men that you don't know, or men that aren't God-fearing? Or better yet, do you give your body away and you're not married? These are all signs of self-disrespect, and I've done every last one of them. So let me tell you, I gave my virginity away before I went to college because I didn't want to be a virgin in college. How crazy! What else did I do? I decided to have kids by a man that I thought, oh, well, he looks like he got a couple dollars and he can take care of himself. I wasn't after men for money, but I wasn't about to have kids by somebody who don't even work, don't even have money in his pocket. That's what I mean. Anyway, that wasn't no damn real standard, girl. Please sit down. Girl, I didn't even know what his values were, who his God was, and I gave him my body. I gave him a child. And then when I was fed up with him, I swore off men until the next man wanted me, though. I used to tell myself like I was single by choice, but that was only until I felt chosen. Then I allowed the man to have me. I again gave my body away to an undeserving man, gave him a child, all without knowing him, all without a covenant. And you know what? A lot of people say that the Bible is too strict about requiring marriage before sex and children, but like, there's millions of examples of why he knows way more than us, clearly. Okay, so let's move on to reason number 5. You're too nice. Yep, I'm about to say the buzzword that's been going around for the last couple years. Can you guess what it is? You are a people pleaser. So like, being too nice is better known as people pleasing. So what is people pleasing, right? So people pleasing is when a person feels a strong urge to please others, even at their own expense. All right, so let's put it in perspective, right? When a man is pursuing you, do you go with the flow? Have you ever found yourself saying like, oh, whatever he wants to do, I'm down with it. Like, I'm easygoing. I just go with the flow. But actually, you should have a dating standard, right? So like, for example, right? Let's say a man asks you out to the movies on a first date, but you actually prefer to go out to dinner. Like, you want to go out to dinner. You want to go out to a nice candlelit dinner. But when he asked you to go to the movies instead, what did you decide? You went to the movies, didn't you? So like, going on a date and doing something that the man suggests. Okay, so going on a date where a man suggests something that you actually wouldn't enjoy, but then doing what he wanted to do anyways, as opposed to asserting what you wanted is an example of people pleasing. So basically, you want him to be happy and you're gonna ignore how you feel. Okay, so here's like another example. Let's say you and your friends are going out to dinner this coming Friday night, right? Y'all in the process of finding out where you want to go, and they ask you where you want to go. You immediately say, well, wherever y'all want to go, like whatever y'all on. You either do that or you like suggest somewhere that somebody else already said they wanted to go. You don't actually insert your opinion or your preference for where y'all go out to eat on Friday night. And you probably already know where you want to go too, or that you might not even want to go where everybody else wants to go, but you just agreed to what everybody else is saying to make them all happy. My people pleasing started young, but I'm gonna tell y'all about a time when I was like 13 that I can remember when I was people pleasing or like changing my personality to predict what somebody else was gonna feel and think to be accepted, right? I was like 13, and it was this song by Hilary Duff. I think it was Coming Clean. I'm coming clean. You know that song? I forgot the rest of the words right now. But anyway, so I used to love like that type of music, alternative music, all of that. I still like R&B and stuff, but I like different types of music. So one time I had let her listen to it, and I had already knew that I liked the song because I had heard this song like so many times, right? I don't really like it like that. You know, when the song was over, I was like, I don't really like it like that. And she was like, well, I kind of like it. I like that song. I was like, you know what? Me too. And so I was very nervous about what her opinion would be over something so small, but I cared about everything that people thought about me, every single detail, okay? But what I'm getting at is people pleasing comes from the need to be validated. You fear that you'll be rejected and abandoned. Not only make your desires known, but make them a requirement to maintain a connection with you. All right, reason number 6. You keep attracting losers because you don't have an example of what an honorable man looks like. All right, so what does an honorable man look like? They definitely don't look like the man you've been choosing, sis. Well, actually, let's focus on what the dishonorable man looks like, since that's the topic of this video. So let's give some characteristics of a dishonorable man, okay? Number 1, the dishonorable man sleeps around and like prides himself on being able to conquer like multiple women a week, sometimes multiple women a day. The second characteristic is he can keep a job, or he doesn't challenge himself to increase his income in an honorable way. You know, no scamming, right? No drug dealing, no murder for hire, right? Okay. Third characteristic, he has multiple baby moms in multiple households. He hates his baby mothers, and he either don't want to get married or is married but act like he ain't married. The fourth one, he doesn't provide financially for his kids, or he does so in the most selfish way possible, or he does it begrudgingly and tries to cause the mom as much grief as he can possibly muster. Okay, the fifth characteristic, he lacks emotional intelligence. Can't articulate any emotion that isn't anger or pleasure. 6, doesn't date for marriage, and he actually thinks that marriage is for suckers. Now, obviously, there's some married loser men, so I understand that, but typically those men act like they single, but they like how it looks. The aesthetic is nice. And just think about it. You date this man, a man that's dating you for his own sexual gratification. Girl, I'm talking about the only reason he is dating you is for his own sexual gratification. Nothing else. He might present it like something else, but that's all he wants. My entire dating history is filled with this type of man. Seriously. I would literally allow this type of man to pursue me. I would date him. He would crush me. And I would crave him all the more. Over and over and over again. I couldn't get enough. But like, I didn't have an example of an honorable man in my life. So let's move on to number 7. Reason number 7. You keep attracting losers because you're naive. You don't know the game. And you don't know how men operate in the dating world. You don't even know what the goal is for them, right? So you actually go into the dating world blind. When I was dating in my 20s, like, I thought I was gonna find the cutest relationship, and I thought that I was gonna find a man that was gonna love me more than I love myself. And I would make sure that I was whatever he needed so that he wouldn't leave me. People pleasing, validation from someone other than yourself. And like, I would even make changes in myself to like improve for him. It didn't even matter what kind of man he was. It just mattered that he chose me. I literally had very minimal standards. I'm talking about, you didn't even have to be cute. If you show interest in me and you wasn't like creepy, wasn't like you know, yeah, that's about it. Actually, was interested in me and you wasn't creepy. Yeah, so that was it. That was the standard. So like, but yeah, I put all of my fairy tale desires on like whatever man wanted me at the moment. Men know this. Men know that women do this. They know that women want like the house, the family, the marriage with the white picket fence. We're actually groomed to desire these things and look at relationships and life actually through rose-colored glasses. Every Disney movie, every romantic comedy plot has this message on us like a spell. Basically, like, women are taught to seek marriage, to create a family, you know, and then a lot of men are taught to just conquer women and conquer the world, that the world is theirs and they can do in it whatever they please. They're in power. Like, when the type of men that I'm talking about, when they dating for sexual pleasure, to look good in front of their friends, and to fight off loneliness. Many of them are not looking for genuine love, companionship, and definitely not marriage. So really just learning the game and only dealing with honorable men can combat this whole problem. It has to be accompanied with like self-discovery in order for it to work. Like, you can't just say, okay, I'm gonna write down tips on how to spot, or I'm gonna watch a bunch of TikTok videos or YouTube videos on how to spot a loser, or how to date a high value man, but you're not even a high value woman yet. You haven't worked on yourself, you haven't figured out why you are the way you are. You're not going to be able to get an honorable man, because an honorable man wants an honorable woman. Honorable men and women do the self-work, do the self-development work on themselves. They don't let life determine who they are. They don't let their experiences determine who they are. They get up, they pull themselves out of victimhood, and they learn how to have peace with who they are and where they're going. Reason number 8, know thyself. Do you know yourself? Keep attracting losers because you have no idea who you are. So you remember when I said that I dated pretty much whatever man that wanted me just to fulfill my need for validation? Like, I did those things because I thought that my value lied in men desiring me and people liking me. I made terrible dating decisions, and I never gave myself the time to actually work on what was wrong in me, so that I wouldn't keep making the same decisions and repeating the same problem. I just didn't know who I was. But you know what? That's my experience. Maybe you know who you are, right? If somebody asked you who you were right now, what would you say? Actually, go ahead and write down 5 words that describe who you are and the explanations to support them. So assume that you completed the task. Let's consider this. If you keep dating and attracting losers, you may just be confused about your identity. Okay, so what are some signs that you in fact do not know who you are? I'll name a few. You don't fear God. You don't take accountability for your place in life. You don't have a therapist. You don't value therapy. You don't read books or watch social media content geared towards self-development or mental health. You haven't pondered on your childhood or how you grew up. You lack emotional intelligence. Don't journal. You don't self-reflect. You don't make the connection between your decisions and how they affect your life. You haven't realized that you're the reason you keep attracting losers. That the goal of this video is actually to get you to see the role that you play in your own life. You think that mental health is just a trend, and you haven't even worked on your emotional traumas. You haven't even figured out why you're dating, like what's the goal. You don't know what realistic dating is. You still see it as a fairy tale. You don't have a plan for your life. You don't have any goals, and you're okay with mediocrity. You have no idea what your life purpose is, and you aren't seeking it. Now, you may be doing some of these things, and that's great. Let's work towards doing all of them, though. Reason number 9. Y'all not gonna like reason number 9, but reason number 9. You're too masculine. Now, reason number 9 may be kind of controversial for some of y'all because it's like so much propaganda against saying that a woman is too masculine. But it's true. Hold on, before you start shouting at me and clicking off the video, just consider this one point. You grew up without a male figure in your home, or a male was in your house, but you didn't exactly look up to him. You didn't exactly see him as an honorable man, right? You don't have an example of a good man. So more than likely, if you didn't have a dad in your house, or a honorable in your house, or consistently in your life contributing to your development growing up, you more than likely don't even trust men. When you don't trust men, you don't let men be there for you. You don't let them do nothing for you. So more than likely, you wouldn't even date a man that would require you to let your guard down, or that would try to help you. Or if you did date him, you'll end up pushing him away, or like sabotaging the relationship. Still not convinced, huh? Okay, so let's go over some examples. Right, so you've been dating a man for a while. He asked you, do you need anything, right? He asked you, is your money good? Your bills, your household good? All of that, right? You tell him, no, I'm good. Everything is fine. But meanwhile, you got a $300 light bill that you can't afford to pay. You could have told him. Maybe he would have offered to pay it. But you ain't tell him. Does that sound familiar? So why didn't you tell him about the $300 light bill? And you might even say, girl, I'm not one of them women. Like, if a man gonna be around me, he gotta be providing something. I don't play that, right? You may require a man to help you with your finances, to just give you money when you need it. But like, are you vulnerable around a man? When you don't trust men emotionally, you don't even allow him to protect you emotionally. Like, you'll try to take on too much. You might be one of those that might say, oh, I'm good, or I don't need no help. Whenever you're dealing with something, you just automatically think you don't need emotional support. Like, you just harden up, you harden yourself. This is masculine. That's a masculine trait. It might be a toxic masculine trait, but it's a masculine trait though. Because like, even healthy men are not as emotional as women naturally are. And yet you're not only on the less emotional side, you know, more veering towards what a healthy male, a healthy man in touch with his emotions would be like. You're on the side of the toxic masculinity in terms of dealing with emotions. You act like they don't exist. And you know what? This is what we call the strong black woman. And women will go around saying they don't want to be a strong black woman. They don't want to be a strong black woman. And a lot of them will blame men on why they can't be delicate, and why they can't be soft, and why they can't be feminine on a man. But the thing of it is like, how come you haven't figured out for yourself in your own life how to present yourself as a vulnerable woman, as a vulnerable human being who is not afraid to be human? Why does a man have to create a space for that in order for you to figure out how to be feminine, or to be feminine, when in fact you never knew how? You don't know how to, and you haven't even done the work to figure out why you're so hard as a woman, and why you don't want to feel any emotion and be vulnerable around anybody, or a man especially as a woman. But you're going to blame it on the fact that a man hasn't created a safe space for it, even though you just met him 2 weeks ago. You've been acting like this your whole life. What does his presence in your life and him making of the space for vulnerability have to do with you creating the space for vulnerability for yourself? It should be absent of a man. It should be something, it should be your life goal, whether you get married or not. And like, for real, you only are so strong because you don't think it's safe to be soft and vulnerable. Your experiences have caused you to close off your heart, to harden your heart. And you haven't tried to heal from them, at least not long enough, not separate enough from a man, not alone and by yourself, being single and working on yourself, not just abstinent, but abstinent and doing self-development, self-healing work, so that you can actually emotionally progress and improve, whether or not you find a man or not. So you can't blame a guy not creating a space for you to be vulnerable as a reason to justify you being overly masculine as a woman. And I understand that a lot of people are saying, well, what about how these men act? They're like, you know, they don't care about me. They don't care about me when we're dating. They ignore us and they ignore our feelings, and they're this and they're that. Then why are you dating him? Let it go. Be single. Wait till God sends you a man that has these qualities. That a man who he knows he wants you from the jump. He's very intentional about you. And that's it. When God sends you a man, good. But I guarantee you, he ain't gonna send you a man and you ain't trying to do nothing to improve yourself. That you are so prideful that you think that it's the man that needs to get right and not you either. Huh? If you get a man in between that time and you ain't doing no self-development work and you ain't trying to take heed to the things God is trying to show you need to work on, I guarantee you, you sent yourself that man. God ain't send you that man. We gonna move on to the last reason that you keep attracting losers. You idolize men. That's why you keep dating losers and you know he a loser. Y'all be like, oh, I know what type he is. Oh, he kind of mean. Oh, this, and then keep dating him. You idolize relationships. Your entire identity is like wrapped around being able to get a man, being able to attract a man, being able to bear his kids, and get in the ring. So whenever we idolize anything but God, we are doomed to fail. So I bet some of y'all are thinking that you don't idolize men, but I can prove it. So you know that you keep dating losers. So you know that you keep attracting losers, but you keep dating the same types over and over and over and over again. The reason you keep doing this is because you're prioritizing dating. You're not prioritizing getting to know yourself. Your life is about your self journey. Your life is about your journey. And you're trying to add somebody to your journey before you even realize you're on a journey. Before you even like have a plan for how you're going to go on this journey, how you're going to make it through, who you are, what you're here for, all of that. But you want a man. You want to cuddle. You want a cuddle buddy. You want a Valentine. If you actually took the time to get to know yourself, you wouldn't date none of these types of men. I can guarantee that. You would not find losers attractive. You'd be like, hell no, I'm about to run up out of here. And you know what? Like, a lot of women are taking vows of abstinence, you know, kind of thinking that being abstinent will protect them from these loser niggas. But like, you know, and you know, I did too, right? And I swore I was working on myself when I was taking these vows of abstinence. And I was, but I couldn't identify the problem. And instead of continuing to be abstinent, because I clearly didn't identify the problem yet, and I clearly didn't still have the picture of who I am and who I was at the time, right? I would just break my vow of abstinence after a year for no reason, every time. So, you know, what I'm saying is, you're abstinent, right? Cool. But are you doing any self-development work? If you take time away from dating, then yeah, you'll be protected from the losers. You'll be protected from the F-boys because you won't be in the game. But when it's time to get back out there, if it's time to get back out there, right? If you haven't done any self-development work, you're just going to pick right back up where you started. If you don't have a plan, if you don't work on yourself and you're not constantly elevating, like, the same things are going to happen. You're going to repeat the same patterns. It's just inevitable. You've been through too much. You already know how this goes. You already know how this story ends, and you do it anyway. And you do it to yourself over and over and over again because you're too afraid to face yourself and actually figure out who you are. Because God knows that self-discovery is extremely painful. But, you can't get to the other side without a little strife. When you're trying to get your validation from a man, you will literally put up with any and everything just to have him say he wants you. Think about it. When they beg and plead for you to come back, when they blow your phone up and they're calling you over and over, you like that attention. It's bad attention, but you like that attention because it's showing that somebody cares about you. That nigga don't care. He playing a game. This is fun. If you watching this video is not so you can confirm that men ain't ish. This is to confirm that you don't know who you are, and so you keep choosing men to fill a void. The void is that you're missing. You're missing from your life. You're not present. You're living in your trauma. So I really implore you ladies to take the time, even if it's 5 years, to find yourself and figure out who you are, what you want, where you're going, what your purpose is, and how you're going to get there. All right, so thank y'all for watching. Come back next week for the next video. Yeah, stay tuned. Bye, y'all.